Good morning everyone and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name's Alex and welcome to another episode of the news, bringing you Saturday morning news, or just afternoon, maybe afternoon by the time this goes out. Starting off, as the thumbnail says, and Maddison is second choice. This comes from Andy Mitten in the United We Stand podcast and on The Athletic, and he's talking about how James Maddison is the second choice behind Jack Grealish, and doesn't really go into much more detail than that. It seems like Manchester United are after a creative midfielder. They're after a number 10. They're after someone they're gonna go into that position. And Maddison and Grealish, I think, are going to be the two names that we're linked to all the way through. I think Maddison kind of all depends on his contract. I think that's kind of where United have edged away from it, because it's looking like he's going to get a new deal. So it probably will leave him at Leicester for another at least 12 months before he's able to be moved on. But realistically, I think Maddison at first was our number one target, but then Jack Grealish obviously has had a fantastic season this season with Aston Villa. Just a fantastic footballer, and I think maybe fits the mould a little bit better, does a bit more of the nasty stuff that Maddison doesn't do. And I think that's what Ollie wants in the team. He wants someone that's going to do that kind of stuff. So again, it does look like we're still after a number 10. Which is a little bit strange considering how Bruno Fernandes has come in, and also the talk of Paul Pogba staying. You know, maybe the thought would be maybe a more defensive minded player might be the one that they want to bring in. But no, it still seems like they're after a number 10. And again, what that decision will be, will it be Jack Grealish, will it be James Maddison? I think the coronavirus thing has meant that we need to have options. It's not going to be as simple as it maybe was before, and as we know, Manchester United doing transfers is never the most simple thing to do. They tend to drag things out. So I think with this time frame or whatever it is, I think they want options. They want options in this creative midfielder role. And again, brings me on to the second bit of news, and it's some quotes from Paul Scholes about Bruno Fernandes. He says that he's great on the ball, he's always on the half turn, he's that link United really needed. They lacked that bit from quality of midfield into forward players. Whether he can play in the midfield too, that's yet to be seen. He looks like an out-and-out number 10, possibly like a Cantona, Dwight York and Teddy Sheringham, something of that ilk. And I don't think that's really what we expected from Bruno Fernandes. And I don't see him as a Cantona or a York or a Sheringham kind of thing. I don't see that kind of player in him. But, you know, he has played a lot of games at number 10. Whether Ollie sees that as a short-term thing, whether he sees that as maybe next season, maybe because he's played Matic more, who's not the most dynamic in midfield and does the legs. He does do a very good job of shielding. Maybe he sees McTominay going alongside Fernandes, or Fred going alongside Fernandes, and maybe a hard-working number 10 ahead of him. I don't know, but for Paul Scholes, someone that knows a bit about football, knows a bit about playing in a 2, knows a little bit about playing in a 10, because, you know, he did both them roles at Manchester United. You know, in the 2003 era, that's kind of where he played, just off Ruud van Nistelrooy, and then later on in his career moved further back. Whether that's how Bruno Fernandes does, I still see him playing a bit of both positions, to be honest. I think against the teams that we're going to have a lot of the ball, I think he can be in that too, alongside a Matic, a McTominay or a Fred, or even maybe we get someone else in. I can see him doing that. And then I can see him in the games that are maybe the bigger games, where we're going to have to be a little bit more defensive, maybe have to sit back a little bit more, him playing in the 10, and maybe this Grealish or Maddison, maybe they drift further wide, maybe they do a diamond midfield and try and incorporate all of them, I don't know. But that's the kind of strange thing that's coming out, where you've got players seeing, and experts, and Paul Scholes, you can't deny as an expert, seeing Bruno Fernandes as a number 10 footballer, as someone that's going to fit into that system. And then our biggest transfer links, apart from obviously Jadon Sancho, is around this number 10 role, as a Jack Grealish, as is in a Maddison. Let us know in the comments below, who would you like to see? Do you want to see a Grealish or Maddison? Do you see Bruno as the number 10? Do you think we need someone else in midfield? Do you think we need someone deeper in midfield? Where do you see us lacking? I think the obvious one is we need someone on the right hand side. Obviously Jadon Sancho ticks all them boxes. So, you know, I don't think that's a question, but let us know. Let us know who you think people where Manchester United need a footballer. Is it in the number 10? Is it in a number 6? Is it a number 8? Is it? And then the question comes on to Paul Pogba. Do you see us bringing in a Grealish or Maddison and keeping Paul Pogba? Do you think that that's too many players? We've gone from now having not enough creative midfielders to, Mata's still there. Is Mata going to go? I don't think Pereira and Lingard will be around for too much longer, so that's probably not a question. But all these players, what's going to happen? Where we've now got a lot of creative. If we have Bruno, we have Mata, we have Pogba, we have a Grealish and Maddison as well. That's a lot of players who want to play in similar roles, and can they all fit into the same team? Or, deep down, I do see Fernandes as more as a replacement of Pogba, and maybe having someone else in there. So, does that mean Paul Pogba's gone? Does that mean he's staying? What does all this mean? And do you think that Maddison and Grealish come in if Pogba stays? For me, I don't see that. If Pogba stays, which is a possibility now, with all this stuff going on, it seems like the story that Pogba's telling us he wants to stay and things like that, whether how much you believe in that, you don't know. If he does stay, do we bring in a Grealish or Maddison, or do we stick with the Fernandes and Pogba in midfield? Then moving on, the next quotes that I've got from you is from Mr. Odion Ighalo. Has been talking. There's obviously the talk of him getting a permanent move. There's the talk of him going back to China. He said in an interview this week, "Seen so many tweets about the permanent deal. I've seen so many people going crazy. Go back to China, some say. Stay with Man United, some say. Have you seen me say a word? I don't have to say anything. I don't have anything to say, sorry. When the season's finished and I get 2 offers from the 2 teams, then I will sit and think about it, pray about it, and whatever God says I should do, I will go with that. I come to Man United to play for a pay cut because I wanted to, so anything could happen. But I want the season to finish and my loan to finish, and then I will see everything I have." Slightly different to kind of what's gone on before. I think the talk around Ighalo has kind of been that he's going to stay. Like, I think if we offer him anything, he'll stay. But it's a lot of money's on in China. Whether the change in structure in the league means that he's not going to get that much money next year, I don't know. But I think that I don't think we can afford to pay him into I think around 100,000 would probably be 100,000 a week. But if he's talking about trying to match or get close to what he's on in China, which is 300,000 maybe, which the reports are, I don't think United are going to do that. I think if they're going to spend £300,000 a week, they'd be better going for someone else. Ighalo's been fantastic, and please don't say that I don't want Odion Ighalo, because he's been brilliant. But is he a £300,000 a week striker? I'm not sure that's the case, especially with the players that are around, the options that we could have, and especially with the players we want to bring in. There's talk of Pogba staying. Like I said, Pogba before staying. He's on a lot of money. You've got Jadon Sancho, who's not going to be on a small wage if he comes in. And then Grealish and Maddison coming in, I don't think they'll be on daft wages. But again, this whole talk of how Alexis Sanchez skewed everything for us, I don't want that to happen for Odion Ighalo. I don't think that needs to be the case. Making an exception for a guy that is going to be a rotation player, and definitely not going to be our starting striker. So when everyone's fit, that front three is probably Rashford, Martial, Sancho. So if Ighalo's on £300,000 a week, I think that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to be spending. So, like I said, I think he's waiting till the end of the season, see what Shanghai offer him. Because if they offer him that kind of money, he definitely has to think about it. Because that's why he went there in the first place. It's a ridiculous amount of money for a player Odion Ighalo's quality. But if United come up with a package, something around the £100,000 a week, he likes it in Manchester. He loves playing for Manchester United. You can see that already. And we can get the fee sorted. I think that there's a possibility there. But I think Ighalo's kind of done the right thing there, not ruling anything out, because I think saying that he's just coming to Manchester United would be daft on his part, because I think there's going to be some decent wages that he's going to get offered in China. And, if that's the case, then, we're not going to... I don't think we should spend stupid money on keeping him in terms of like £300,000 a week. Okay guys, thanks for watching today. I've been Alex Bagley and this has been the news. Make sure you check out our membership scheme. There's loads of good stuff going to be going on there. Loads of behind the scenes stuff, extra podcasts, extra Q&A videos. Make sure you get involved in all that. And also the top tier has got the merchandise pack, so make sure you get into that. We're going to send you some stash every single month with different t-shirts, different merchandise, all sorts of good stuff that we're not going to sell straight away to public, so you will be the first ones to get hold of that. So make sure you take a look at that. Make sure you subscribe. We are only 100 subscribers away from reaching that 40k, to reaching 40,000 subscribers, so it'd be really good if you can get on that. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Cheers.